Hello, this is Steven. Welcome to your practice. In this short 10-minute video, what I would like to do together is have a look at a couple of ways that we can sit without using a chair. Is sitting bad? No, not necessarily. But is it beneficial to change your position over time and not sit in the same position for many hours a day? Yes, absolutely. Your body is definitely going to appreciate this. So for a moment, even if you're not used to this, I'm going to invite you to come down to the floor or a carpet or a yoga mat or whatever you've got nearby. And let's try a couple of different ways that you can sit so that hopefully you can change the way you sit a couple of times a day and explore some different positions. The first one is really simple. It's a simple cross-legged position. And if you come into it and you're like me, the knees are slightly high. Actually, they're higher than the level of the hips. So what I like to do in this case is I like to take a block, or if you have a cushion or another surface to elevate you off the floor, then that could be really handy. So take a moment to come and sit onto a little bit of a higher surface and cross the shins down the middle and then flex your feet. So you're pulling the toes up towards the shins. This is going to activate the outer hips a little bit more. And then take hold of your thigh bone or your thigh with both hands, and then just rotate the thigh out, so away from the midline. Just rotate out. Good. And then let the knee relax. Rotate the other side out with both of your hands, and then just sit for a moment just to feel your body in this position. Second way is, of course, to swap the crossing of the legs, because it's a slight imbalance, but it's still an imbalance if you're always going to sit with the same leg in front. So it's a good thing to once in a while swap and have the other leg in front. Again, we're crossing the shins down the middle. The shins are more or less parallel to the front. And again, I'm flexing the feet a little bit. This is to provide good alignment in the ankle, the knee, and the hip joint. Again, if that felt good on the other side, you can roll the thighs out. So external rotation away from the midline, and then lengthen the spine and just feel this for a moment. Nice. Now keep the same foot in front. Now we're going to point the feet. So this is flex, this is point the feet like a ballerina, and then bring the heel a little bit closer towards your hips, and then do the same so that one heel is in front of the other. And with sitting this way, you probably notice your knees are able to go a little bit down. If they don't go all the way down, don't worry about it. You could even support the knees with another cushion or so, or just let them hover, that's fine. And then experience how it feels to sit like this. And then let's swap the legs around so the other heel goes in front. You can help with your hands just to bring the heels in. One heel is in front of the other. And in yoga, we call this the accomplished pose. The first one is called the easy pose, or the sort of settled, grounded pose, you could also call it. Nice. A second way to sit is, you can move the block to the side, is just simply on the heels. So it's kneeling. So we're sitting on the shins and the feet are pointed behind me. And if this feels uncomfortable, then just try this little trick here. Lift up a little bit, and then with the hand, grab your calf and do the same on the other side. Roll the calves out to the outside of your leg, and then slowly sit back down. And just notice if that doesn't give your knees a little bit more space to bend a bit easier. We've actually basically made space at the back of the knee so that the front can flex a little bit more. So just experience that with sitting on the heels. If that still is not working, you can grab your cushion or your blanket or your block or whatever you've got, and just sit on place it on the heels so that you're elevated quite a bit higher. And now you've got your little throne, and actually this is really comfortable. You could probably sit like this for quite a while, and at the same time you're lengthening the front of the legs and you're changing position to a second side. A little variation of this pose is, it's basically the same, but now I'm sitting on one heel and I'm placing one foot next to this knee. This could be an option to sit, or I'm bringing the other foot back, changing to the second side. Nice. Now let's have a look at what if we drop both knees to the side. So I'd like to start with the feet out in front, slightly more than hip width apart, and then just rotate both knees over to the right or to the left, whichever side you want to start with first. This is sometimes called stag pose, this position of the legs. So one inner knee is close to the sole of the other foot. And now here, if it feels like you're falling over, you can always support yourself with the hand, that's fine. Or again, elevate your hips up by sitting on something, and probably you feel it gives you a bit more lift in the spine, and it all becomes a little bit more doable. Nice. And then keep the feet where they are. It's probably easier without block. And then lift the knees up, rotate the knees down to the other side. It's a good exercise, by the way, to do that a couple of times. But for today, we're just exploring the sitting. Maybe again, sit on the block. And it's another way that you could probably spend a couple of moments of your day, maybe when you're sitting around for a little bit. Now, there's two more which we can explore. The first is really simple, legs straight out in front of you. And here, I like to lift the hips up, and then the sit bones, those two bony parts of the pelvis that are touching the mat, slide them a little bit back. Nice. And then activate the legs, feel the heels touching down, feel the whole backs of the legs grounding down, and then lift the toes. It's good to activate the legs so that it's not like a dead weight resting down, and then just lift the spine. We call this the staff pose in yoga, just sitting with your legs out in front, which should be available to most human beings, but often we've sat on chairs for so long that this might feel a little bit of an exercise. You might need a little bit of practice to get more comfortable in this. Again, if it feels like you have to round your back and your pelvis is tipping back like this, then I'm betting you're not going to be very comfortable. No worries, doesn't mean you can only sit on a chair. It just means you need to grab your little block or cushion again. And here we go. Since we're elevated, the pelvis can be a little bit more upright, and hopefully it gives you a bit more space. You can also practice bending the knees, which is going to give a bit more slack to the backs of the legs. Let's explore one more way, since we're at it, which is the legs wide out to the side. Nice. I like to ground the heels down first, and then lift the hips a bit. Slide the legs a tiny bit wider. And then once I feel a slight stretch in the inner thighs, just set everything down and then sit as upright as possible. Sometimes when you're new to this pose, it feels like you're leaning back. Nothing wrong with using your hands as a support behind you, maybe the fingertips, so that you can lift the chest. And again, you can sit on the block to elevate the hips, create a little bit more space for the spine to lift. Good. Pick one or pick all of them or move to all of them and try out different positions throughout your day. It's going to help you to sit on the floor with ease, and also to keep your hips, knees and ankles really healthy. I hope this was useful. Keep practicing and see you soon.